Hello and welcome to this video demonstration on another option to exclude Copilot from surfacing or processing sensitive content based on a sensitivity label. In the last examples I showed, we explored using advanced label settings and DLP policies to prevent the extraction of information inside and outside of a document. In this other option I'm going to show, we will set up a sensitivity label with access control, and we'll see the impact of doing this. So, in order to set this all up, we head on over to the Purview Admin Center and we click on Information Protection, where our sensitivity labels will be located. I will go to create a new sub-label under the parent label Highly Confidential, and I'm going to name this one Finance Team, where I will play out the scenario that only the finance team have certain permissions tied to this label and everyone else is exempt. And once I put in all of the descriptions, I only set this to be applied to files for the moment. And this is where the next set of configuration is vital. I need to set up access control, and this is where I can set permissions for a certain user, group, or the whole organization. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to set permissions for the entire organization, and this is where I can set permissions with the extract permissions removed, as this is what Copilot needs to retrieve content. And this can be achieved from using a template like viewer or restricted editor. I can also use a custom permission and select the rights I want the organization to have, but for now I will choose restricted editor. Now Amber, who can be my finance team member, will have full owner permissions, where they will have full rights to the labeled content, and just so you're aware, they will still have the permissions that requires Copilot interaction, which of course is the extract rights, or the other term commonly used is copy permissions. I'll skip through most of these other options, but this section is quite interesting if you're an E5 customer, as you can configure automatic labeling when you can detect sensitive information like keywords, sensitive information types, and trainable classifiers. It basically takes the burden out of staff having to manually label everything, but for this demo, I'll just skip this part, and I'll also skip the groups and site settings as this isn't applicable here. But once I'm happy with everything, I will go to publish the label and apply it to a label policy where the users can now apply this label. So let's see this in action. In this demonstration, Amber has already labeled an Excel spreadsheet and may have accidentally or purposefully shared this with my other user, who can now see this link to the document in an email. The user goes to open up this document, and in this example, I've made my user only have read rights on the document. So as you can see, when I open the document up on the web and in the desktop app, I have limited editing capabilities due to the nature of that label. But you can see Copilot is grayed out on the web and not even visible in Excel because all editing tools have been removed, and that's where Copilot fits in. In the other example, I have changed this label scope slightly, and I've given my user restricted editing rights, still with no extract permissions. Notice how Copilot is now available in the web app. However, when I click on it, it says I can't help due to policy. And when I go to the desktop app, Copilot has been grayed out. This is showing that the label is preventing Copilot from being used from the application in use, and furthermore, to show this working inside of Copilot chat, I've referenced the file in question, to which Copilot cannot give me an answer because the document is protected. So this works really well if you can set scopes for certain users or groups that you're happy with or authorized to use Copilot for specific types of content, and then exclude everyone else from that scope. There are considerations though, such as the ability for a user to apply this label who might be outside of the permission scope. And because they're the document owner, this will actually bypass those permissions we've set previously. But this can be controlled through publishing the labels just to those users permitted and on the inclusion list with the owner rights. There's also the topic of the number of labels that needs to be made with this in mind, which may result in multiple sub-labels assigned to specific departments, but you can control who can see and use these labels when being applied, or you can even look to set automatic labeling for the user to take that burden away from that manual application. The main point in this video is just to explain that this is an option for excluding Copilot. And that is the end of this video demonstration. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this will give you another option for leaving Copilot out of the equation and also accelerate your Copilot adoption and rollout. But keep an eye out for more videos and recommendations. For now though, take care.